over and was like, it's probably a deer or some kind of wild animal, and the dog is losing its mind. Ted walked out of the bedroom door. Corey turned over to go back to sleep. And as soon as she closed her eyes, for a second time, she heard a gunshot ring out. It was one shot, the silence of the night, followed then by multiple shots. The shots were right outside the door. So Corey, heart pounding, leapt out of bed and grabbed her own gun, which she had in the bedside locker. She could only see darkness out of the open door, when suddenly there was a bright light, like a very powerful flashlight. Silence, then another gunshot. One of their dogs was shot and killed. Corey then just opened up at the light and then saw muzzle flashes coming in her direction. They were shooting at each other. Somehow, though, neither were hit. And Corey then ran for the closet, calling 911.
Travis County 911. Luke, let me see you. My husband got out of bed, my dogs are barking. There were shots fired. That's what it is for him. I don't know. Help me.
Corey found Ted dead on the kitchen floor. One of their dogs had also been killed, and the rest of the house was quiet. The police were delayed coming. They had accidentally gone to the next door neighbors, and then they found this horrifying scene. Nick, their son, was informed. He was horrified. The family was extremely close.
Nick. Yes, Mom, Dad's dead.
Wait, what?
Nick, Dad is dead.
What?
Nicholas, just, I need you. Can you just...
What happened?
Shooting. I don't know.
What? Did you return fire?
Yes. I'm in the back of the car out front, and the police are here, and they wanted me to call someone. I know you're in College Station, and I don't know what to do about it.
I'm on my way.
To neighbors and friends, this was an unthinkable thing to happen, not only to this loving, friendly, nice couple, but in this part of town, too.
But first tonight, we are learning more about the man killed in a home invasion a few days ago. He owned an Austin jewelry store.
There was a temporarily closed sign on the front door this morning, along with flowers and a note from a family friend. Deputies say they're still searching for the person who shot and killed Shaughnessy at his home on Oliver Drive Friday morning. If you have any information, you're asked to call the Travis County Sheriff's Office.
Ted had been shot in the kitchen 4 times. In the kitchen, they found 2 different caliber shell casings, so they believed there were 2 shooters waiting for Ted to walk in, and they both shot him dead there and then. The family did have an alarm system, but it wasn't set at that particular time. However, it gave them the first clues as to who these intruders were and how they got in. They could tell them when windows had been opened. They found an open window in Nick's room, so it appeared to have been the point of entry. The screen had been removed. They had also found a fingerprint on the glass, and in the dresser of Nick's room, they found an empty handgun box. Perhaps one of the intruders had found it and had used it. The window had been opened 17 minutes before the shooting began, so they'd been snooping around for a while before the dog started barking. Perhaps looking for, a safe or cash or some. After all, they were high-end jewelers who had millions with one of these. Millions with a big M. There had even been an attempted robbery of the Shaughnessy before. Years and years before they opened their jewelers, Ted had owned a pawn shop. Right, and one time a guy had broken in with an iron and tried to rob him at gunpoint. Ted said, "Not today, pal." He shot back. There was a gunfight years and years ago in this pawn shop. Ted injured the attempted robber, and he was arrested and locked in jail. Was he out looking for revenge? The lines of inquiries were kind of spidering out almost immediately. However, with all of this, the police initially also had their suspicions about Corey. It's always the other half. It's always the spouse. Even when it's not the spouse, it's the spouse.
Will you be able to tell if I shot somebody?
That's something that we may be able to learn. You see what I'm getting at is somebody doing this at night. It's a very risky thing, especially in Texas, because a lot of people in Texas own guns. It does happen, but that's a big risk for somebody to try to pull off.
I can't imagine anybody knowing us doing this.
Had she staged a burglary in her own home, which we've seen time and time again, seen that movie before, simply for one of these. She would get a check for $1 million, not counting the store and the house and the yada yada yada.
No, I didn't know Ted. It's not right. Somebody killed him.
No, it's not.
And I want to find him.
Me too.
New tonight, the sheriff's office tells us there may be more than one suspect, and it's looking into the possibility that Shaughnessy and his wife may have known the gunman. Detectives say evidence suggests the shooter may have been injured, and he or she should be considered armed and dangerous. The sheriff's office is also asking homeowners and businesses along Oliver Drive who have surveillance video to call them. They are looking for video from the evening of March 1st into the early hours of March 2nd.
The police really had a lot of leads to begin this investigation and a lot of angles where there could have been a motive. Corey, intruders, Nick, a case of mistaken identity was a theory, revenge, burglary gone wrong, and so Nick and Jacqueline, his wife, they moved in with his mom, Corey Shaughnessy. Nick even taking over for his dad in the family business. As the investigation progressed, however, the police did not think this was like a home invasion or an attempted burglary gone wrong. The fingerprint that they found on the glass, tracking that down, it eventually led to the window installer who lived in Minnesota, so the fingerprint actually went nowhere. The home intruders, the two killers, had been in the house for like over 15 minutes, but nothing was stolen. In fact, the only thing taken was the gun. The only thing that seemed to be missing and that Corey couldn't explain, where it was the gun. The police really did begin to look at Corey and Nick, the two people who would have had easy access to the house, who would have been in there for quite a long time. Corey, in fact, she was actually denied the life insurance policy because she was a suspect. The police had informed the life insurance company, we can't rule her out. The window that clearly seemed to be the killer's entry point was what the police were focusing on early. Why was it unlocked? Who knew about that window? Was it always unlocked? And Nick said he had often used the window to get in and out of the house. Say he was sneaking out at night or whatever, he would always use that window as an entry point. Sneaking out, when he was a kid to do whatever kids do, I don't want to know. Who else used it though? Did Nick's friendos have access to that window too? One was Spencer Patterson. He would use that window too if he wanted to sneak into the house.
How would y'all leave the house and get back in and all that?
Usually we go out through one of Nicholas's bedroom windows.
Okay. Do you remember the last time y'all did that?
No, not really, no. It was recent, but not like in the last month, no.
Spencer knew the inside of the house, he knew about the entry point, he even had a gun that was the same caliber as one of the ones used to murder Ted. Not the missing gun that was believed to have been used by the robbers, but the second gun. Was Spency gonna spend the life in prison? No. They were able to get his phone records. It proved that he was at home at the time. I mean, he could have left his phone at home at the time, but no, it seemed like he wasn't involved in the shooting, the murder, home invasion of Ted Shaughnessy. And when his gun was tested, it wasn't the one used in the shooting. Nick was a weird guy. The son, I mean. He was the one who, in fact, had suggested Spencer, his best friend. Which is odd you would suggest that maybe your best friend could have done it. As in, like, he was the one who said, oh, Spencer, maybe he did it. He has a gun like the one used. Why don't you have, who would suggest who would even think that their best friend could have killed their dad? That's weird.
He's not as fortunate as I to have parents that will help him, like mine are. So he works at his Home Depot job, hating every second of his mom's not there. He's studying for his job for his school at Texas State. I don't think of anything that could be helpful.
Nick was just very chill, very happy. Neighbors would even say, yeah, he's acting kinda weird. Had he reason to kill his folks?
There was a period where my mother and I, there was a financial dispute, and it was like really pretty heated, but we figured it out, talked, sat down, wrote everything out, figured it out.
Well, just a bit of background. So this story takes place in 2018. And what was happening around 2018? Well, a lot of things. But that's when, day trading, everyday trading, Bitcoin was on the rise. They're already pretty big at this time, but they were like exploding exponentially. Apps like Robinhood, crypto, everybody was doing it. You know what else was exploding? Crypto bros, my bro. You had stuff like Wall Street bets and all that stuff really taking off, and our Nick, he was a crypto bro. More like a shit crypto, you know what I mean. His dad, Ted, had given him $30,000 to lose on the stock market. Nick was gonna bypass college and had dreams of making it himself. That was what Nick was doing. While he was living with his wife Jacqueline in College Station, she was in college, Nick was at home. Clackety clackety all day. Buy high, sell low. That's the old mantra, isn't it? Wolf of Wall Street came out in 2013 when Nick would have been 14 years of age. Of course he's gonna be dressing in suits, doing cocaine all the time. His hero is Martin Shkreli. Ted and Corey had seen this before, they knew where it was going. They were not obviously happy that Nick was bypassing college and trying to gonna make it as a day trader, which is extremely, almost impossible. So, but you know, they just gave Nick a load of money, they said pay us back. They just wanted Nick to kind of get it out of his system. Enough losses, he'll probably be, okay, yeah, shit, maybe I should get an education and get a good job. That's what they were hoping. But the police discovered that Nick was flat broke. The day trading had, as his parents suspected, turned into nightmare trading. So they searched Nick's place and they found the security system, the camera, and it did appear that both Nick and Jackie were at home at the time of the murder. They checked both Nick and Jackie's phones, found nothing weird. Nothing weird on the surface, is what I really mean by that, because they also found though that like a couple of weeks before the murder of Ted, both Nick and Jackie had factory erased their phones. Like complete wipe at the same time, which is kind of odd. People don't really do factory resets all the time unless they kind of have to. So all the messages had been erased, except if you have iCloud. The messages will be archived on your other Apple systems, at least for a little while. So while Nick and Jackie had thought they had erased all their messages, the police found them. Those messages talked about money and about paying someone 50 grand for a ... Probably his murder. Let's be honest. So had Nick been hiring somebody? Tried to, successfully it seems. Old Spencer had a tale to tell.
Has he ever directly asked you to kill his parents?
Yes. He said, after my parents go, I will have $8 million.
Corey eventually did get that life insurance, Ted's life insurance, when the police cleared her. She did not murder her husband. But you know who wanted it? Nick. In fact, you know what he would have really wanted was if Corey, his mom, died too, because he would have gotten $2 million, $1 million each. More day trading, baby. Nick knew about the murders before Corey dialed a single digit of his to tell him the horrifying story. He had been monitoring the home security system through his dad's login. He could tell that the window had been opened. He was watching his phone as his dad was being shot to death. It was late May 2018 that both Nick and Jackie were arrested, but they still knew that they hadn't killed Ted. They were arrested for solicitation of murder, not murder itself.
The search warrants also say Ted's son Nicholas told an investigator he owed his mother $30,000, and the two had gotten into an argument about it the same week his dad was shot to death. Money Nicholas says she loaned him to start a day trading business. And then there was a text message investigators say Nicholas's wife Jacqueline sent a friend saying, "Only you know I'm broke," coupled with screenshots of her bank account balance and their joint account, each containing less than $2.
The solicitation had been wide, by the way. Not only had Nick asked his good buddy Spencer, "Hey, would you mind just killing my dad and my mom just for shits and giggles? I'll pay you real good, I swear." He had asked an employee at the apartment complex where he lived in College Station. Off the dome here. Murder? He'd been messaging her on social media asking if she wanted to make some cash through illegal means. She said, "What do you mean?" He said it could be anything from stripping to murder, which is there's a pretty wide gap there. And then he said, "I will pay you $20,000 a head," with 3 skull emojis behind it. So just to make sure she got the point with the skulls. She might have assumed though he just found this really funny. Nick eventually found his killers in a couple of furniture movers he had hired. Once again, while I have you here, murder for hire? What do you say? This then led the police to a Johnny Leon.
I'm not gonna lie to you, when someone offers you $100K, you're gonna think about it. We know you're involved in this. We know what happened. We know I'm involved. Absolutely. There's no doubt.
And a friend of his named Arian Smith.
Then I hear some shots come from the bedroom as well. And then I heard a woman crying. And I said, please don't do it, please, let's just go, please, leave her alone, let's go, please, just let's go. So after I say that, he takes off running, and I follow him.
You're the only person that's showing regret. I don't understand how could you kill somebody and not have any emotion about it? And you actually killed him. I was just in the situation. I'm devastated. I cannot sleep at night.
It turned out Nick had given Arian the missing gun. It was found with him. That was it. They had hired 2 killers, gave them access, gave them a gun and bullets, and that was that. Let them kill his parents. Let him kill his father and attempt to kill his mother before they fled when she fought back. Nick pleaded guilty to murder. He received 35 years. The 2 killers, Johnny and Arian, also pleaded guilty and got 35 years each. The only person who actually seemed upset by the entire deal was Arian Smith, who asked that he be killed in return.
Yes, I was there. I requested death penalty. I killed somebody. I deserve to die.
In fact, the only person who got off, let's say, scot-free, was Jackie Edison. Now, she had been texting about the killers. There was evidence she had taken out a check worth $1,000 to pay the killers. But she more or less got nothing, even though she was pretty clearly lockstep with Nikki the entire time.
Do you prefer Jackie or Jacqueline? Or Jackie. Did Nicholas hire somebody to kill his parents?
Yeah. I really loved him like a father.
Huh. Weird. See, the story, Jackie's story, right, was that,